You mentioned the sensitivity in which you need to deploy when running adverts for
Yeah.
example, or getting punished really for having gone for dead birds, whatever. What's the optics of fishing like in that?
It's an interesting question. People don't seem to have the same. I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to emotion, doesn't it? It's emotive. It's what people don't like the idea of. I mean, we could talk about elephant hunting, and the vast majority of people are going to say they really dislike the idea of somebody wanting to kill an elephant. And then there's a scale where some people are okay with if it's a bird, they're not particularly bothered if it's a pheasant. Whereas then, if you talk about a deer or a rabbit, and somehow there's some sort of emotional connection that people have with certain species. Certain species are more emotive than others. Fish don't seem to bother people. People don't seem to care. I think there's been various surveys done, even to, I think it was either PETA or the League Against Cruel Sports. They did a survey, I think, their own database saying, how do you feel about these various things? And some of them were driven shooting. Some of them were sort of hunting foxes with hounds. There was, and then fishing. And fishing just, I remember seeing that the majority of their database were really not bothered about people catching fish. So it's weird. I don't know. Some people just don't have an emotional connection with this thing that lives in this other world that you don't come across, and you don't so it doesn't resonate with people. And I don't think people have the same sort of feelings about fish as they do about cuddly things with big eyes and ears that they look like they have emotions. And yeah.
One thing, though, along with your convincing argument that is tempting me to get into fishing, is I'm currently reading John McNab, which
Brilliant.
a lot of people will know, but those who don't, it's a story about three bored Londoners who then they then go to the Scottish Highlands to poach a stag, a salmon. Have you ever done a McNab, Max?
I have, Joe. I actually have. I'm slightly embarrassed to say that I achieved NAB on my first attempt. It was, yeah. I mean, it was extraordinary, actually. I wasn't even meant to be doing a McNab. It was when I was at Field Sports Magazine. Charlie Coops was our commercial manager, and she was invited to do the Ladies McNab Challenge on Telton of Glenila Estate. And I was there in the capacity as a journalist. I was there with a camera, documented. And if Charlie got her McNab, she would be doing a feature and in Field Sports. And that was the whole premise. And we were invited up for 2 days. And our host said, Marcus, bring a rifle, bring a shotgun, and bring a rod with you as well. So I thought, okay, well, why not? And Charlie managed to catch a salmon within half an hour of first morning, which was just, everybody knows that's the hardest bit. That's, of the McNab. It was this extraordinary thing. We couldn't have got off to a better start. I think we were back at the lodge by 8 a.m. with the salmon and back. Anyway, so we then got back to the lodge, had a quick breakfast, and the ghillie and stalker said, well, let's get to the rifle range, fire a couple of shots. And as we were leaving the lodge, they said, Marcus, bring your rifle with you. And no, sorry, I don't have to. That's really not what happened at all. We went after the grouse wrecks. They said, let's go up a hill. So we got back, had breakfast, and they said, well, grab the shotguns, let's go up the hill and try for a brace of grass. And as we did in the lodge, they said, Marcus, grab your gun too. And we walked in the line. Anyway, by the time Charlie shot her second grouse, which took a little while, it turned out that I'd shot 2.5 brace of grouse by this point, because they just kept on breaking up to my right. So there's an amazing moment. By lunchtime, Charlie had caught a salmon, shot a brace of grass, and we had all afternoon ahead of us. So we went back to the lodge, we had some lunch. And then, yes, as we were leaving the lodge after lunch, the ghillie said, grab your rifle too, Marcus. And so we went up onto the hill, and they positioned me on the other side of the hill so that I could watch Charlie stalk, so I could see the whole thing. We saw this group of stags, and I basically was on the other side of a valley, a glen, and they drove round, and then Charlie stalked over the top of this ridge, and we saw her appear over the ridge, and I watched the whole thing unfold. And then as it happened, 3 stags broke out and came towards us and then trotted along below us. And I was told, go ahead, feel free. So I stalked in and managed to shoot a stag. And it genuinely didn't occur to me at all at that point that it was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Charlie had successfully she completed it with Nab. All I was thinking about at this point is getting back to the lodge and drinking whiskey and celebrating with her. Just thinking, this is just the most extraordinary thing. She's just done a McNab, but this is amazing. But it was when the underkeeper said to me, you should get back to the river. You know, you've shot a brace of grouse, you throw a stat, you might as well go and that's exactly what happened. We did a double McNab in a day. I got down to the river an hour later. I mean, I've never driven the Land Rover so fast to get down to the river. I met the gilly on the bridge. And yeah, we went down to this pool on the Erect, and it was a kind of your perfect salmon pool. It just looked magical. I started fishing down this pool. And he'd said to me, he said, you're coming into the really good bit now. If there's a chance of a salmon from this pool, it's going to be in the next sort of 5 to 10 casts. So really focus, concentrate. Anyway, I hooked a salmon and I lost it. It came off. And I just fell to my knees and just thought, that was it. That was my chance of McNab. I'm probably never going to do McNab, ever. I was absolutely gutted. And he said, no, don't lose heart. There's still a chance. There's one other little spot just a little further down, probably another 20 yards down the west, that sometimes hold the salmon. You never know. And that's what happened. I got to that little bit and he said, right, concentrate again now. And it was, fish on. It was a pretty nerve-wracking sort of 10 minutes of playing this salmon out, and he netted it for me. And yeah, it just an amazing moment. And I had a bottle of whiskey that had been given to me by my late grandfather's best friend for my 21st birthday. I kept it for, never opened it. And I did say to Charlie, I said, if you finish your McNab, if you complete a McNab, we're gonna open this bottle of whiskey. And we suddenly did. We drank a whole lot of it. Really, it was great. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.